What's going on, y'all? Big Mike, Big House of Glass, and Big House of Vapors. Coming to you super tired and exhausted. I know I ain't really been on Facebook and stuff. Not that it's important, but I've been going through a ton of stuff in the last few months. Really draining stuff. Physically, financially draining, just draining stuff. As most of you know, I've been going through with my landlords over here on Main Street, the first Big House of Glass and Vape. These landlords have me in this building in super disrepair. So they took over the building about 4 years ago, maybe just over 4 years back. I had, just before they bought the building, extended and leased the two buildings next to us. I redid a lease on all three. We used to have a guy down in the city, Peter Levy. He recently retired, but he was the head of the building department or something big in the building department. He's the one who approves your building, or who used to, approve your building permits for you to be able to open stores. He was a friend. So he would come to all my location that I'm going to take and look at it and tell me whether I should take it or should not take it. Initially, he's the one who told me that I should take the current open Big House of Glass and Vape at 1724 Main Street North. And, multiple other locations until he left during COVID. And so he goes in, he looks at that building. I guess it's like January 2021, I think, or 2020. I think maybe 2020. And he goes to look at the building and he says, "Hey, there's some issues. The wall is damaged, and it looks like," he says, "it's not, I'm not an inspector, but what it looks like is that the wall is crumbling. You should wait to put in your COU, I already submitted my COU. He said you should pause your COU because if they come out to do an inspection, if they find that wall is crumbling, and they report it to the city engineer, and they say that they'll condemn the entire building, including your current COU store." So I instantly call the property owner, the owners. They don't give me a real response. They said send some pictures. I send them an email, picture, say this is what's going on. They say, hey, we need a little time. We're in Miami. They're out-of-town investors. I got no problem with out-of-town investors. I moved to Jacksonville as an out-of-town investor, but I made Jacksonville my home. And I worked hard to never shit anybody. So I sent them the emails, the pictures. They're kind of condescending, like, how do you know this? And I say, hey, my guy works for the city building. He came, he looked, he said, this is what it is. So they argue back and forth. They say, we'll come and look. They take some time. They come to look. I was out of town. So Mariah, the former manager here, was here. She walked them over, unlocked the units. They all walked in the unit. They told her, get lost. Like that, get lost. Extremely rude. I am so upset that I wasn't here. I checked them on the spot. They messaged me back and they said, hey, we don't see nothing wrong with the wall. We think it's fine. Go get your license and open the store. Get it inspected. I'm like, they clearly said they're not going to approve it with the wall. I push forward with my COU. Inspector comes down, looks at it, says, yo, I can't approve this. I'm not going to deny it because if I deny it, it's going to cause you a big issue. But I'm going to give you some time, get it fixed. So I go back to them. Guys, come out and fix this. The people say, get a roofer and let the roofer do a thing. I say, that's your job. The lease is very clear. This is your work. It's your responsibility. Exterior, wall, support. This is your stuff. Handle it. They say, we need you to do that. I said, okay, fine. So I send them 3 roofing inspections, with the wall. First, I didn't really know that the wall was an issue. I thought the roof was just leaking down the wall and causing the damage. So it's a roof issue. Two of them came and said, yo, this is a roof and a wall issue. This wall needs to be repaired. The roof may need to come off and get placed. The roof was done illegally. The work on the roof was illegal. The ACs that are on the roof were illegal. They were clearly not permitted because the city would not have came out and approved that work. When they came out to do the final inspection, the city would not have approved it. It's not sealed to the roof. It's not this. It's not that. Blah, blah, blah. They keep going on. Okay, I send it all to them. No word from them. I call them, email them, paying rent on time every single month. Extremely rude. We'll get to it when we get to it. We don't think it's a problem. Fast forward. We have a big steel security door in the back. I slammed it. You got to pull it real hard and close it, like slam it closed. So I slammed the security door closed, slide it up and lock it because there's no handles on the door. So you got to just like grab it by the metal and then slack it and down. I closed that door and the ceiling caved in on my head, knocked me unconscious. I have gone, for the last 2 years, I have been going through the worst pain of my life. I lost strength, memory issue. I can't carry my kid around, my 1-year-old around. In the middle of this month, they're scheduling me for neurosurgery. They're doing some stuff, and they said they need to do some surgery in my neck and my spine right here. I have an MRI. Then after the MRI, it's like my third MRI, they're going to do a surgery. So, it is what it is. I'll reach out to them. I say, this is what happened. What are we going to do? I need this building fixed. They don't want to do nothing. I go to the lawyer. That's what it is. I'm going to put a lawsuit, right? For my neck. The ceiling caved in on my head. Something that they already knew was damaged. Multiple times. They knew. They were told. In retaliation, like a couple months later, they filed a lawsuit against me. Against the wrong name, by the way. They said that they served an employee, which is improper for process service. They're supposed to, serve me at my legitimate business address. Retail, if you don't know, retail stores aren't your legitimate business address unless you make them yours. But I don't, since we have several stores and several businesses, I use one central, place for everything. So they said they served the employee inside the retail store that's open, 1728 Main Street North. Problem is, 1728 Main Street North is the metal roll-down door that's always down and always locked, and there's no employee in that building. Crazy work, right? They never served anybody. They get a default against me. I come to find out that the whole thing is going on, by the way, for years paying rent on time, never being late. They filed for some stuff that was in the back that had nothing to do with me. It's the neighbor's property. And for not opening the 2 stores that I can't get a license for, but I'm paying for. I find out because the sheriff's office gave us a 72 hour to evict. They evicted us. And 72 hours to move, get our stuff out. I go hire a lawyer, amazing lawyer, Calvin Gonzalez. Great lawyer. They go right down to the court, bang them up, dismissed. Then turns out they didn't even file a lawsuit against my proper name. Fast forward, we're still going through it. I'm going through issues with them, messaging them. Come get your building fixed. Since we can't use the next room for anything beneficial, we put some like tables in there, or like a pool table, air hockey table that used to be out in our Stark store. We just need it for storage. We don't want to clog up the warehouse, so we put it in there. As the employees walking past, part of the ceiling falls and narrowly misses them. Well, this is a high roof over there. It's like, 12 or 14 feet. Narrowly misses them. At that point, I'm like, hey, don't even go over there no more. It's a wrap. Message them back. I need you guys to come and get this. No response, no answer. They don't want to do it. The plumbing hasn't worked here in 8 months. 8 months. Thank God for Crispies and a coffee shop right here. These two guys are amazing and they work with my employees and let them use the bathroom. I gave the employees the choice to not work, not to work in the store. I said, yo, if we need the store maintained, me or Hove will go and run the store. The employees are like, nah, we're down and we want to be here. So we made some sanitation stuff for them, hand sanitizer, and we have a little fountain for them, clean their hands and stay clean. And they use the bathroom. Those places let them use the bathroom. Thank you to them. Sink water comes out of the faucet brown. So I get a inspect. I've reported to the city. City comes out, gives them 30 days to fix it. Doesn't write up everything. Says they can only see basic stuff with the face. So I go and get an inspection done. I call a commercial inspector out and a GC. The inspector has a GC. They come out and they go over the building and tell me so much stuff that I didn't even know. Like that there's termite damage. Like that the wires are misran or ran improperly, out of code. Some of them are exposed. They're in the ceiling that has a bunch of moisture and in the walls with moisture. So getting wet and cause a possible fire hazard. They say the wall is so damaged that the roof would need to come off to fix that wall. And if they feel, and they said we're not engineers, so we can't say 100. We're not engineers, but in our professional opinion, what we have seen, this building is unsafe to be operating in. So I take it back to the city, which hasn't really done nothing yet. And this is where we're at. And there's other stuff like the fact that they're overcharging the rent intentionally and overcharging sales tax, and then sending me strong emails that I'm short and I'm not paying them their overcharged sales tax. Property sales tax in Jacksonville is 3.45%, 2% to the state, 1.5% to Duval County. They were still charging me 7.5%. It's not the first time we had this issue. They've been charging me extra sales tax and extra fees for years. So, there's that. I'm just at my wit's end and I don't know what to do. And I regret to say that we are closing Big House of Glass and Vape, 1724 North Main Street. And not to be too worried because Hove is opening another store close. But I'm just done over here. I can't go with it back and forth. I can't risk my employees' safety. The health issue is an issue. Them not having bathroom running water. They said the pipes at the ground are so corroded that nothing's passing through. That's why it keeps backing up. These landlords are the worst. These are like the worst of human beings. Out of town investors who come in and spend money and buy stuff and then don't want to do anything. They don't want to help to move their rent forward, or even not help, but just maintain their property. They'll tout it on their website. Take a look at their website. On their website, they say how this is great for short-term rentals and, building wealth, blah, 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 patting themselves on the back. But they're literally letting a historic building in Springfield, a beautiful building in Springfield, rot. Intentionally rot. My guess is so they can knock it down and build one. I don't know. That's an opinion. I don't know. Build a new building or something else. I don't think the Historic Society, I don't think SPAR is going to let that happen. But this is what they're doing. They're just letting the building rot. So if you guys have some suggestions on what I can do, please reach out and tell me. I know it's a long video. I know most of y'all ain't going to watch this whole video. But it is what it is. And it's a serious paramount situation. I'm also putting in pictures from all over the building. Pictures I took, and plus the pictures from the report. I'm going to put a copy of the report on there too. You guys take a look at that and tell me what you think. We have a second bathroom in this unit, urinal. It's not even connected to anything. There's holes in the ground, holes in the roof, holes in the floor. I mean, tons of holes, massive holes. I didn't know there was termite damage. There's massive termite damage everywhere in the building. The walls are sweating. You know, if you even look right there at the wall, right there at the wall separating. It's water coming out, or moisture underneath, I don't know. After I get the surgery and I move past this, I tend to take a strong matter of my resources, and I'm gonna dedicate my life to ruling out slumlords and getting rid of slumlords. This Crest Properties, not Crest Realty, Crest Properties. They use the name CJX3 for this property. Some of them they use CJX for. That seems to be their thing, but their company is out of Miami. It's Crest Properties. That their Google and their website will be in the link along with the pictures of everything. Or be on this post. People like them make it hard for everybody who tries to do the right thing and work hard to build something. Fortunately, we have income from other locations and other businesses, all in Jacksonville plus internationally, and Jacksonville, Cali, and internationally. That we have a fallback. Fortunately, I had the money for a lawyer. What about that guy who just starts his first business and this is his first thing? If he came in here and he put his money out and he's giving it his all to build a family for him and for his future, or young lady, not just guy, or young lady, and they invest all of this money to build their future, and these corrupt people just come in and take it from them. Try and push their narrative and then sue them frivolously, sue them because they got injured on the people's property, because the people are neglecting their property. What about that guy? There should be more that the city does. There should be more, something stringent like, when a new owner comes into the building, they should have to get a safety inspection submitted to the city. There all there's things that should be done, and I intend to dedicate my life to making sure that this situation doesn't happen to anybody else. And at this point, I'm doing what I can to make sure that this building gets corrected and fixed before the next tenant comes. Because I'm afraid of what might happen to the next person. Let's not forget that just a few months ago, an entire building 3 blocks from here, 2.5 blocks from here, collapsed out into Main Street. That had the same, very extremely similar issues that this building is having. And from what I understand, the same builder of that building back in like 1926 or something built this building too. It just has a ton to do with people not maintaining their property, their investment. So guys, this video is already too long. It's 18 minutes, and I'm sorry for that. And shout out to anybody who made it all the way through this video with me. You guys should follow their Google link and go leave them a review. Let them know how you feel, positive or negative. Support them, don't support them, but you should leave them a review. I love you guys, and I just want to, thank you for sticking out this 9 years with me on Main Street in Springfield, and thank you for accepting me into your community. And I had planned on essentially being here for the rest of my life. Maybe not in this building, but being a part of Springfield. And this is just ridiculous. Just because these people don't want to maintain their property. Nice and easy. Like this roof falling on my head is murder in my life. I'm in steady pain from this. All you need to know is so bad in the last few months I haven't been able to travel. I do trade shows all the time. This our primary source of income is not really retail, it's wholesale. I can't do any shows. I'm gonna try to go to one this month. But my last one, it was so bad on a plane that as we landed, my nose started bleeding. I had to leave and go straight to the hospital. I felt like I was dying. So I've been essentially grounded for the last, 2 months. I've been going through this longer, but it's just progressively getting worse and worse and worse. And it's hard to play with my kid, with my baby, my daughter, my 1-year-old. Oof, this video's too long. Thank you, Main Street. Thank you for everything. Crest Properties, CJX3. You guys are scumbags. I don't know what more to say. Scumbags. Thank you guys. I love you guys.